Hi, this is Dan from Modern Therapy, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about trust and emotional safety in a relationship. Now, obviously, in a relationship, one of the biggest cornerstones is trust. And inside trust, one of the biggest cornerstones is emotional safety. Now, what is emotional safety? This is basically the commitment that each partner makes to behave in a way in their life, inside and outside of the relationship, that keeps the other person emotionally safe from unnecessary harm and pain. So, building emotional safety in your relationship can look a lot of different ways and can really be different depending on who you're in a relationship with. However, there are a few basic principles that are widely applicable in a relationship that can really help build emotional safety. So, some of these basic ways that we can build emotional safety in most relationships could be something like minimizing painful surprises with full honesty and transparency, minimizing disrespect by considering each other's emotions in our choices and in our behaviors, minimizing resentment by really committing to accountability in yourself with mistakes you make, whether they be intentional or not, and minimizing disconnection by just committing to vulnerability and validation in the relationship for yourself and for your partner. Now that we have a grasp on what emotional safety is, we're now going to talk about how to build trust with that idea. And there's a few ways to think about this, but I typically break it down into 3 stages of trust building. The first stage is committing to emotional safety. So those examples I just gave, and whatever examples that you and your partner are able to clarify in your relationship in terms of what really constitutes emotional safety from unnecessary harm and suffering in the relationship, knowing what that is and committing to it is stage 1. Okay? Stage 2 is collecting data over time. This is where we really commit to that emotional safety and we commit to it long term. We pay attention to those commitments. We pay attention to the results, to the best intentions, best efforts, and all of the stages and the data that we can collect over time. Now, stage 3 is the decision to trust. That's when every relationship is different, every partner is different. So once enough data has been collected and the data seems to suggest that it would be more safe to trust this person with less information about them and what they're doing, and we don't need to know all the information, we can trust that they will keep us emotionally safe, that's when stage 3, the decision to trust, happens. Now, keeping in mind that the decision to trust is just that. It's a decision, and it's something that's personal and something that we have to kind of consider ourselves and our feelings and thoughts and values in deciding to trust someone. But it is a decision at the end of the day, and it's your decision. Now, this process is not easy. It's really difficult and scary. So there are a few things that can get in the way of this particular brand of trust building in your life. One of those things could be the fear of being hurt, even despite the data, even if the commitment to emotional safety has been pretty much ideal. It's still hard to get past that fear of being vulnerable and trusting someone with your emotions, with your emotional safety. So that fear can sometimes stop us from trust building. The other thing would be not recognizing that trust is a decision that we make. So we kind of wait for the universe or our partner to just give us the license to trust. And if we wait for that, we could be waiting longer than we need to and maybe never make the choice. So recognizing that it is a choice that we make, and we want it to be an informed choice. So we take the data and we use that to inform our choice. Another barrier could be just inconsistent data from inconsistent commitments to emotional safety. If we don't take every opportunity within reason to really build that emotional safety, then the data is not going to be in our favor. The data is not going to be in the favor of trust. And then you kind of have to collect data for more time to really build a trend of trust. Now that we kind of have our heads wrapped around what building trust looks like, what emotional safety means, how to commit to it, how to think of it in 3 stages, and kind of getting an idea of, or maybe getting ahead of what barriers there could be, just keep in mind that these ideas and these concepts in trust building work for all kinds of relationships. Romantic relationships, family relationships, professional relationships, even your relationship with yourself. You can build trust with yourself just as well with these ideas. Now, there are some resources below, so feel free to take a look at them. But obviously, if you have any trouble building trust in your life or with yourself, Just keep in mind that modern therapy is a phone call away or an email away, and we'd be happy to help you with anything going on in your relationships.